Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spirit Talks. Today, I have some amazing speakers here today. Joining me, it's Tejas Engel, Kimberley Jade Pipe, and Donna-Lee Wynen. So thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm so excited about this conversation and where it's going to take us. So yeah, let's dive in. So you're at the top of my screen, Tejas, and I'm going to go with you first. Tell us why this topic about the dragons, and by the way, our topic is encounters with the dragon realms today. Why is this topic so important to you? And tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, the people ask me often how all these incredible magical synchronicities and quantum events happen in my life, and it's like, I don't know, I'm just born a dragon. I'm born the year of the dragon, and so everywhere I go seems to include the dragons, really. So it's the magical sort of side of life. So just a quick bit of background, like I grew up a mountain man in Titirangi in the wilds, like just me and the dog and the bike and the bush. And so nature and just all the aliveness of that sort of fired me up. And then quite quickly, my father inspired me in all the magic of ham radio communications. And so I was, imagining all these amazing devices I was making up out of, stuff out of the recycling or whatever, and then moved on to getting my degree in electrical engineering and teaching at university most of my life, and so full handle on the academic scientific world. Then the whole psychedelic revolution happened in the 70s, and all our consciousness just exploded in all directions, and all the seeking of what's behind things, and that led me very quickly into my kind of life mission as a 0-point energy engineer, I guess, to bring free energy technology actually into usable form. So I've worked on a number of big projects with people in California and things at times, and followed that field for like 45 years, as well as held down an academic career. And also, a peak of my career was about 10 years in the top level scientific instrumentation and measurement. So all this stuff, is about using measuring instruments to understand the unseen realms. All these things you have to sort of grasp with your imagination, really. I'm sure I was one of those scientists in the 1800s, along with Tesla, like we're just so excited about what on earth could we be looking at with these magnets and things. Yeah, so, and then just to round that off, well, throughout my life, all sorts of other incredibly magical connections have happened with dragons. In fact, some friends would get freaked out every now and then when I'd be spouting forth about something coming through, and thunderclaps would be going off out in the clouds and things, and the energy's rolling. The dragons make themselves known in those sort of ways. And so I've also been doing sand magic, these giant sort of mandala drawings in the sand out on the West Coast beaches here in the black sand with Leslie, does sand magic. And I'll have some stories to tell about how the dragons appeared in some of those events at times. So yeah, it's just the bridge, like I am unique because for most of my life, since I graduated my degree, then I got hauled off into the world of shamans and interdimensional stuff that just left my poor little left brain going whimper whimper. I thought I knew it all. And so now, I spread a wide span of bringing in quantum magic in a scientific context as an engineer and applied scientist. Blah blah. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Me. So look forward to jumping around with you other beautiful dragons.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Wow, what a journey you've been on. I didn't even know all of that about you, Tejas, so I'm so excited to be able to find out all these amazing things.
Multiple dimensions. I've lived so many lives.
Yeah. And then all the dragons experiences. And I know that, I've been on retreat with you and you've shared some of your dragon experiences, and it literally gives me goosebumps. So it's so
Yeah,
magical. Thank you for being here as my speaker. I'm excited to what's going
right.
to be unfolding here. So
And just while you
Kimberley,
reminded me of that, I just let
sure.
people know, because I might forget otherwise, that was one of the classic dragon moments at that retreat we were on. I was up in Shakespeare Park at the end of Wangaratta Peninsula. And we've been just talking about some quantum stuff, and I can't remember the exact context, but we were in this half round sort of corrugated iron hall hut thing. The next minute, there's these undeniable claws screeching on the roof. And I immediately said, the dragons are here. And everyone's eyes were wide as saucers. We were all gobsmacked. It was just, couldn't have been anything but something. The big claws sit perched on the roof. Anyway.
Yes, we'll definitely dive into that. Okay, Kimberley, thank you so much, Tejas, for sharing. Kimberley, welcome as my speaker today. Please tell us why this topic is so important to you, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Kimberley Jade. I'm a kinesiologist and I'm a Centaura healing practitioner. So I use multi-dimensional frequency to heal and clear blockages in the body. And I work very closely with the dragons. So I work very closely with the other realms. And dragons are they're just so powerful. I remember with one of the sessions that I did with a client, I actually felt like I was a dragon, like I was bringing through dragon energy. So I really do. I bring through dragon energy with my healing. And lately I've had the rainbow dragon with me very strongly. Clearing auric fields, bringing in the rainbow energy. And I feel like the rainbow dragon for me at the moment is very, very powerful, very strong. I also work very closely with all sorts of different dragons. And for me, they represent strength and they represent like power. And they just really get like cut to the chase, and they just transmutation as well. I was actually working with a dragon last night and just felt this really powerful, fiery energy in my body, really hot. So, I use them for my healing. I use them with clients, and they come in all the time to assist me. So, that's really my connection with the dragons.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I know that you've had some amazing, amazing connections through Centaura and the work with Centaura and with the fairies as well, which is so beautiful.
Yes.
So thank you for being here.
I thought, can I mention the fairies? I'll talk about dragons.
Of course, the fairies.
I want to mention the fairies. The fairies do come in a lot as well in my sessions with the dragons. They're quite closely related with the work that I do. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that you're here and that you're going to be sharing more about your journey with us. So welcome. Donna-Lee, welcome. Please share with us why this is so important to you and also a little bit about the work that you do and about you.
Yeah. I think that the space that I bring today is to bring awareness about the dragons to the everyday people. And I was contemplating, why I was here, and during, like, I'm a body worker, so I'm noticing more of late that helping people to be in their bodies, to be able to adjust to the light downloads that we're receiving. So I feel for me that I'm here for the people that are learning that we can use these other realms of energy. And so in my practice over the years, I can remember meeting my first dragon in 2008 in a healing. And what I remember was that there was this misinterpretation around dragons. They've been perceived as, dark or evil or whatever that is. And that interaction, my very first interaction, was intriguing and kindness. And so I may not specifically work like these two guys do, because I work with a lot of realms, but when they have come, it's the energy that they bring that shows not what we've perceived them to be. And I think that's why I'm here today, is to support the understanding that we actually can work with them and how we can use them to be by our side. That's been my experience, is that they kind of wrap themselves around you, and you don't realize that you've got this incredible winged being that can walk by your side. So yeah, that's why I'm excited.
Yeah, beautiful. That is so true, right? So the mythical, the way that dragons have been portrayed over many, many, many lifetimes and years is very dark, and it's mysterious. Yes. The first time I remember when I connected with the dragons in my work was, it felt like I was sitting around a round table, and that I had a bunch of knights around me. The honor, the absolute strength, the total trust that I felt sitting around that table with the dragons. And they came and said to me, "We are the wisdom keepers of ancient times, and we are here to share our magic and our medicine with you." And I wanted to almost bow, because I felt such a reverence with this connection. And they were like, "No, we bow to you because we work with you." Yeah. So this is a total co-creation, with the dragons, and they can teach us so much. They, streaming their energies through to help activate that lost wisdom within our own souls. And they hold the dragon keys and codes that has been lost, to civilization. And so it's so beautiful when we do get to connect with these powerful beings, and they are our protectors. They are our keepers. They can really deep dive shadows, and they work with the ley lines with our earth, our planet, and with other many beautiful realms. So it's about time that we go, actually, you know what? Let's work with them. Let's co-create with them. They are here. They're not just in our imagination. Well, they are, but they're not just in the storybooks. That it's very real, the dragon energy. So anyone want to add anything to that?
Yeah. What I'm going to add is they're saying, and this is maybe simplicity, is treat us like you treat a dog. You can have a dragon with you like you have a dog with you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I was just going to say that really backing the mutual partnership, like we think, dragons are all these fifth dimensional magical beings and we need all their help here, but we're their agent in 3D. They can't implement the stuff in the School of Hard Knocks like we can. So they're delighted to have us opening up, and like you say, loyal, like I wouldn't say a dog, because they seem to be very complex, multi-dimensional beings, but there is that sort of, you see it portrayed in the kids' books, that loyalty of the sweet dragon, the light side of the dragon.
Yeah. And there's so many different types of dragons, right? I've seen so many different types. I've seen long dragons with long tails, and short dragons that can't walk, that can't fly. Sorry, dragons. Of course you can walk. And so, I've seen little cutesy dragons, and then ones that's really fierce, and they all have their own personalities, just like, and it's so amazing to connect with them. There you go. And Tejas came on first with his mask.
My personal assistant sits on my desk here with me.
Oh, I hope he gives you good advice, Tejas.
Yeah, all the time. He makes me smile, and that's the best advice you can get.
Yeah, beautiful. So I want to talk about why the dragons have come now. Why have they come to humanity now? And what are they here to help us understand? Who would like to share?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, I've just become aware, particularly in the last few years with all the crazy lockdown world and all the great awakening and stuff, that there's a massive party going on around the earth of all sorts of beings and other dimensional beings. This is the long awaited sort of moment on earth for everyone to wake up. So they're to me, bringing it back down to a bit of grounded physics for a moment, they are I work with 0 point energy, and I imagine most of you heard of 0 point energy, and that's the when you go down to zero in three-dimensional space, you drop below the Planck length where nothing atomic exists anymore, and they call it the infinite sea of energy. So you sort of wormhole your way down out of 3D into the all that is, the great infinite field of all frequencies at all levels. And so that's that plasma light we see pouring out of the sun. So dragons have always been seen coming in all these fiery displays in the Middle Ages and whatever. They're just beings radiating this plasma magic out of the fifth dimension and beyond. And they're just like angels too, are just personifying the light threads that come out of our shoulders. It's another that I sort of do a bit of healing work too with my dragon claws. Sort of drive all the demons out of people's shoulders, and they all groan and moan when I'm doing it, but they come running back for more and more because it really opens up the wings. I can feel the shoulders widening, and those are I remember learning from Judy Satori, those are the axiotonal lines in there that where all our starlight comes in, but it's so intense that we clench up because it's intense, and then we block it. So then comes the dragon, and I can feel people's shoulders just widening and all these gushing sort of fountains of angel wing coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all have angel wings, right? We just forgot. Some people, actually, their wings are actually so tightly held and bound almost that when they do first open it up, it's almost like the wings are growing, so there can be pain in the back of the body, in the back of the heart, where the angel wings are. But I do believe that dragons come here to remind us of who we are in various different ways and forms, and it's about coming back to that remembrance so that we can access that golden plasma light, that infinite flow of universal light within us, right? And then allow ourselves to move forward from that space of knowing, what do I do next with that? So yeah, thank you, Tejas, for sharing. Who'd like to share next? Why do you think the dragons have come here? What do they want to share with us?
I think that they've come here to just assist us in our evolution and in moving forward, and to transmute. So for me, dragons are a lot about transmuting, and to assist us to transmute all that's not working for us, and to reach those higher dimensions, and to rid us of the fears and the shadows that are keeping us kind of restrained, or keeping us feeling less than. So I feel that they have come to, just to assist, and just to be part of our evolution, like part of what we're going through, and also to, I'm getting coming through to be our friends.
Yeah, our best friends. It's like the analogy that Donna-Lee used as well. Yeah.
I just want to be our friends, and I'm feeling that really powerfully.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Donna-Lee, would you like to add anything?
I just, while you're talking again, it is the analogy of the dog, and it's not that that's less than. It's the connection of, like, I can feel them, like wanting, rubbing against you, wrapping themselves around you. It's, familiarizing ourselves with that which we already know but have forgotten. And so I feel there's also, and maybe this is the earth dragons, there's a real intensity around grounding, and being in our body to be able to assimilate that magic.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings us to the different types of dragons, right? So what different types of dragons are they? We're working with elemental dragons, so water, fire, earth, air, those dragons. Then we're working with dragons that unlock light temples. We're working with dragons that work with ley lines, that work with sacred keys and codes in the earth, or whatever it is. That's just from what Spirit has downloaded through me. But I feel like dragons have different functions, and they also come as teachers for us to really help us unlock what is within us that's ready to come through, that's ready to come online as such, right? So when we as human beings are coming into awakening, into a state of awakening and awareness of our own gifts, they come into this space and they go, okay, well, let me teach you more. Let me show you what is possible. And it is that wrapping around of their energy, making you feel comfortable with who you are as well, and who you actually are as a divine being in human form. So that's just from what I've downloaded. What else would you like to share about the different types of dragons? What have you experienced? Who would like to go first? Tejas?
Yeah, okay. Well, it just brings to mind this group we set up of dragons on Zoom back in the first lockdowns, and when all the revelations were coming out about some of the manipulation going on, and we formed this Zoom group where we met every week and went on duty up and down the country, just flaming out any government officials that weren't acting in people's best interests, or clearing all the channels down the ley lines, and just preserving that sort of that freedom to be, totally magical and imaginative in the works. So yeah, those are definitely the part of my team. I've got this gigantic violet dragon that no one messes with, and so yeah, that side of it. And then there's just another one I know of, is the playful little fire lizards, the little baby dragons that I've sort of called them into my workshop, my mad scientist workshop, where I'm working on all this 0 point energy. And they sit around up on the shelves, and they get all excited when I'm on the right track for something, and their eyes all spin with colors and things. And so there's that sort of joyful, playful side of those ones. Anyway, that's a couple I know of.
Beautiful. I love it. I love how our team, our cosmic team, gets excited for us when we actually discover something, develop something, unearth something of ourselves as well. And it's so magical. And they actually dance and celebrate, and they do get joyful. So because it is like you say, they need us as anchors here to anchor in the energy, to come into a space of anchoring in this beautiful energy that they're here to share. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Tejas. Donna, is it Donna-Lee or Donna?
Yeah,
Donna-Lee.
This may sound off track, but it keeps popping in around you. Have you seen the movies How to Train Your Dragon?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
So for me, that was like when that came to air, when those movies came to air, it was like we were, tapping into the human race on a different level. And this is what I feel, because I can remember watching those movies and thinking, oh my God, someone's made a movie about all these dragons, two-headed dragons, grumpy dragons that didn't fit in. And it was this incredible space. I mean, they must have had a ball making that movie, because they could create and definitely channel anything that the dragons wanted to do. And then there's that whole story, which has been powerfully revelating to our journey where we are now. And it's like they want to go, make sure you watch, if you haven't watched How to Train Your Dragon, make sure you go and watch it. Because if you aren't where we are at the level of this mystical stuff, then you can reach through quite often those animated films that give us permission to imagine and to play.
Because we are, we forgot to play. We forgot to, as children, that was part of who we were, right? And that's where creations and inspirations and inventions come from, and that space where we can imagine. And so I feel the dragons have come back to us to bring back all of that to us, especially moving into a new state of evolution where there's new technologies, new inventions, and different things that's going to be coming out for people, for humanity, as we're co-creating. So it's an exciting time to be alive. But it's this realization that, yes, through watching How to Train Your Dragons and, watching the avatars and the movies that are out there, it's actually awakening people's consciousness to what is possible and helping us play and dream. And through dreams, we can create, we can make, we can inspire. So, yeah, it's a really exciting time to be alive. And, yes, if you haven't watched any of those movies, there's a TV series about it as well. I think I've watched all of them.
Yeah, me
and
too.
and just tapping into the subtleties of the messages that's within that program as well, and allowing yourself to, maybe during meditation, connecting with the dragons, setting the intention to connect with them and ask them to bring in more play, to bring in, that wonder, that childlike wonder for you. Beautiful. Kimberley, what do you want to add, my lovely?
I mean, I love those movies, by the way. Like, I've watched the whole everything. Like, I was just obsessed. I love them so much. I love Toothless. He's just like the best with his grin. But for me, yeah, colored dragons. Like, my internet's not the greatest, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating things that you guys are saying. I'm kind of hearing most of it. But yeah, for me, it's just like colored dragons, like a lot. Like I said, rainbow dragons. I get like more so. It's not more so the kind of dragon for me that comes through. It's the color of the dragon. So I'll get like gold dragon comes through a lot. Like I said, the rainbow dragons. I don't usually see different kinds of dragons. It's more just colors for me, to be honest. So I think they represents the kind of power that they have, but also, yeah, the water and definitely using the elements as well for me, like the elements and definitely the elements and the color.
Yeah, beautiful
frequencies.
Yeah, totally. And what did you want to say, Donna?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted. The
okay.
biggest part for me was their eyes. So when they've come in healings, and the first time that I met one, and I was actually reading my notes yesterday, and I can just see it is like I went up and I lifted up the eyelid, and it was like lifting up the eyelid and looking. There's something about their eyes, and I think that relates, Tejas, to you talking about zero, the zero frequency thing that you were talking about, and then when I've been meditating myself, I can remember this gigantic, amazing dragon, and it was the eye, and it was like have, I guess, around the attention, but also taking us into the world that they are, and they're talking about, get on our back, come and fly, come and experience the dragon eye.
They're like a portal,
Yeah, it takes you into that void, which is what Tejas is talking about. So the 0 point energy is the void, which maybe some people have heard about that. It's the space of allness and nothingness. And the space where you can connect, where you can literally, it's a natural state, your natural state of being, and within that space you can create anything. That's where ideas are formed and everything comes to fruition in that space as well. The
magical realm, the dragon lines. I'm just reminded of talking about movies of I think it was Smeg, wasn't it, in the Lord of the Rings, that when he was in that huge stash of gold coins, and just such a giant being lurking under all that treasure he's guarding, all that golden treasure. And then the looking into that eye and the power of that voice, it was super deep sound system in the movie theater, and just sort of, the power, the limitless power that's described in 0 point energy. Even mainstream physics has to admit there's infinite power of all frequencies in that 0 point hole. When you drop down below the matrix, down below the smallest dimension, the Planck length, that anything 3D physical exists, there is only an infinite sea of energy below the atomic level. And apparently the world of atoms, that all of our physicists and that think, everything must be particles, is only less than 1% of the entire universe. It's all plasma energy and stuff, the stuff we see pouring out of the sun, which which is the 0 point, the best example to us. And then I've been seeing a lot lately too, in working with my own Merkaba field, the toroidal field, the still point at the center of the toroid is our passageway into the void. All the old masters have talked about the void. And we can sort of, everything's opposite to what it seems like in terms of 3D matrix, and bigger, more energy isn't further out there. Infinity isn't out there. It's down through zero. That's the wormhole out of all of 3D into the all that is, where we all are connected with everything.
Beautiful.
They're just saying that is how you can use their eye.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, there you go. It's the cosmic eye. It's looking into that void.
I'll
Thank
just
you
quickly
for that information.
show you something on my wall here.
Oh, the eye.
Light's reflecting on it a bit.
Yeah. They always have that, it's incredible.
Multiple dimensions to it. It's like it's a vertical slit for a start.
It is that star point. Like, that's what I'm being told now. It's that star point of entry, where you can enter into the cosmos. And this is why they're helping us. The dragons, they're with us. They can deep dive into our shadows. And a lot of the work that I've done, especially with clients, are around, facing the shadows and alchemizing it into light as such, so that we can reuse that alchemy, that energy, that gold light energy. And so the dragons they're not afraid. They love to deep dive with us, okay, when we face our shadows. And they are always radiating this gold light, this power, and reminding of us of our own infinite power as such. So I love working with the dragon. But I want to quickly share one little thing that they keep on reminding me about, which is the connection with the wizards, the connection with the ancient, the wizards, the trees, the Ents, all of those beautiful earth-bound, and, well, wizards are not just earth-bound, they're also cosmic, but really understanding that everything that we work with here, we are understanding our interconnectedness with all that is, which brings us back to the void, that space of nothingness. And I feel that if we allow the dragons and if we allow them to come and work with us, we can unlock ancient knowledge and wisdom and apply that to our life in real time. Okay. So I know, Kimberley, that you've done this before and you've worked with the dragons in this way. From what you've experienced in terms of your clients and maybe some of you others as well, how are you working with the dragons to be able to then allow those people to bring in what they have transmuted and anchored in real time in their own lives?
Yeah, I think it's a lot around, do you mean the integration side of things?
Yeah, just what is it that you are experiencing through your sessions with the dragons that's then shifting people into a space where they then can apply it to their life or maybe live their life in a different way?
Yeah, I feel like it's very much, I just pass on the messages. Like, I pass on the messages, and for me, it's a very energetic thing. So it's a very energetic thing that comes through, and I call in the dragons and I get them to shift the energy. So by doing that along with my kinesiology, it really it gets out of the way what is in the way of them actually achieving what it is that they want to achieve. And that's what I say to them, is these things are just going to get easier. So the dragons quite often come in while I'm tapping points to shift belief systems. So it helps to shift people's belief systems out of like a certain way into a new way. And that's how it kind of infiltrates through their life. Of like a new way of being and an easier way of being. And so then they can step into what it is that they want to step into, or what it is that they need to step into with more ease.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. Anyone else want to share about that? Donna-Lee, what have you seen in your healing sessions, and what have you experienced through your own clients in terms of how the dragons are actually helping us? The channelings that's coming through you, how is that helping your clients?
The first thing that comes to mind is return of self-empowerment. That is the first thing. And often when they are around, because they just pop in. It's not something that I work with every single day. It's just when they turn up, and there's quite a lot going on, because they're just showing me right now how that there's sea dragons whizzing through the sea. Like, this has been happening while we're sitting here, and seeing them really swiftly and fastly through the sea. So I don't know why I'm saying that. But the other part that I just saw was how the dragon can go up the spinal cord. And in the work that I do, I do a work called orthobionomy, which is a self-corrective body modality. But they're just showing the following spirals. So I don't know how this relates, Natalie, but I'm just sharing it. But it's my clients, it's about reminding them of their self-empowerment and to be able to stand in their alignment. And that's what the dragons bring. And I think in my course of work, I've probably worked with earth dragons majority. I'm hearing about the wind and the sea today.
Yeah, well, just adding in there from a physics point of view, again, the ether behind it all, all that is vortex in nature, vortex in shape, so I've been getting shown in some of my dream instructions, why is it that all living beings have this etheric field around them that certain seers can see very clearly, and I was getting shown, well, what's the most vortexed up spiraled thing that all living beings are made of? It's DNA, right? DNA is like an antenna that's accumulating it all out of all those little 0 points and building an energy body. And so, that's what I'm now being guided to do, to get a machine to turn it into electricity to run our cars and things. But, it's the ability to focus that vortex energy, anchored in 3D, that creates like a portal, a wormhole to the infinite field of energy. It all flows out. You open little doorways into it.
Yeah. And I'm also being shown how that spiral is a purifier as it goes up, because it's always going up into the cosmos. So our lower denser chakra is obviously down the bottom, our root chakra, and then it gets lighter as we go up. So when it goes from the base of the spine and it spirals up the spine, it's actually removing density as it's going up, and then connecting us back into higher realms and through our stargates, which is really beautiful. And I've got goosebumps when I'm saying that. So that's my team confirming. Yeah. So it's magical, all of the stuff that the dragons can gift us. It's just so beautiful.
Have I got time to tell you just a little story on that vortex line that's
go for it.
A friend of mine called E.T., who for obvious reasons was, another free energy researcher and things. And anyway, we had channeled to us from this Bashar. I don't know if you've heard of Bashar, but anyway, he's a interdimensional engineer who channeled through this design for this sort of double cone structure made out of copper wire, where they went through each other and they all had exact sacred geometry proportions and things, and that was supposed to tap into the field, right? And so I arrived round at his place out at Piha one day, and he's sitting there at the table with eyes as wide as saucers, not saying anything. And I said, what's up with you? And he'd, for the first time, powered up this double cone thing, and it started hissing all this plasma gas out into the room. And he freaked out, so he unplugged it from the wall, and it didn't stop hissing for another 15 minutes. And then he said he looked out through the doorway into the kitchen, and there was this little dragon flying around in there that had come in through that portal that he'd opened, and he's never touched it again. It scared the pants off him.
Oh, bless. Well, there you go. And that's, we do have, thank you for sharing that story, because I feel like the veil is so thin between our realms at the moment, and that it's much easier for us to access these different beings and information. However, we've got to be very careful when we're working in the spiritual realms. And I want to add this. You're not just going to go and call in a dragon, right? You're going to ask for the highest frequency of love and light to please connect with you and to be channeled through you. That's always the intention, and to connect with the highest beings of light when you're channeling or when you're connecting with the dragons as well. Because yes, there's dark and there's light, and we don't want to open up any portals or any energies that is allowing dark energies to come in and attach to us. So I just want to add that as well. And then, yes, all of these devices are great, but yes, there's opening of portals, and like what happens with those portals? They need to be closed. And so a lot of the work that we've
manage them.
Yeah, a lot of the work we've been doing with Centaura is actually going into light temples and opening up with the dragons, opening up portals and light temples that have been closed down for specific reasons. I'm not going to go into that right now. But I also want to talk about something else now, and how we can help the dragons. In our work, we have gone into various places across the world energetically, and we have freed dragons. We've actually removed them from where they were bound or where they're being kept under the earth. And this is in energetic realms. It's not necessarily, in the earth, in our earth as such. And so we have freed these dragons. And when the dragons are protectors of the land, of certain parts of the land. And when we unbind these dragons, it unbinds the land and it unlocks the keys of that land so that new energies can stream in, especially working with the different light temples as well. When we open the light temple, we're opening up this beautiful light stream of higher consciousness or higher stream energy that's coming through in the planet. But like Tejas says, you've got to manage it. You can't just go and open anything. You've got to make sure that you close it again, or that you manage the energy. Because imagine
even the free energy work, just the physicists, again, some of them were saying it's like drilling up into a tank of water. What are you going to do when it all comes running out? It's all going to pour out at a rate you're not necessarily prepared for.
So the other thing is, does anyone want to add anything to what I just said as well? Kimberley and Donna-Lee, do you want to add to what I just explained and maybe share some of what you've experienced?
Yeah. It's definitely, like you said, definitely always for the highest, greatest good. And I think using Centaura and doing my Centaura training has just like given me so much faith and confidence that what I'm doing is in the highest frequency of light. And I do find with the dragons that I do have to kind of be quite strong in that respect. Of asking for the highest vibration, because I was saying a lot, calling in my dragons, and then Spirit said to me, say of the highest light and love. So yeah, I do work like a lot, like when I work with my clients, I'm always making sure that I'm closing, opening and closing things at the same time after my sessions. And yeah, I feel that it's just really important to
Oh, whoops, we've just lost Kimberley. She'll come back. Her internet's a bit hit and miss. So yeah, she is. Let's see if we can get her back.
Internet is personal hotspotting. It's terrible. I'm hardly hearing you guys, so like that's why it feels a little bit disjointed. But what I was saying was that yes, it is really around your intention as well, like huge your intention to what I'm working with. And I do feel that dragons as well are huge protectors. Like they always come in to protect me, and when I feel like something really needs to just be shifted, like something that isn't like high vibration and is really like there, I get this dragon light language coming through, which for me, I've actually only ever spoken it twice, but it's the most powerfulest, like don't mess with me, like powerfulest light language that I've ever experienced. It's just so powerful, and it reminds me, I'm getting this vision of it's almost like it is like a dragon throwing the fire, That's what I'm getting the analogy of what this light language actually is. It's me being a dragon, and that's my fire. That's just burning away and just burning away anything that needs to be shifted. That's not of the light. So it's interesting. I'm just getting this come through now if that's what it is, because I'm like, whoa, it's like, so don't mess with me. And it is fire. It is my fire that comes through. So that was was what I had to say.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I think so when I've spoken dragon speak, I call it dragon speak, when they channel their language through me, it's really quite guttural. It can be quite guttural, and very, very, it's like a very potent, pinpointy, sharp energy. It's very focused energy, and there's no messing around with it. I remember once sitting around this other table, and this was whilst I was channeling for a client, and this dragon came, and ice dragon, and we were in this beautiful ice castle, and this dragon just came and sat down at this very intricately carved table in the center. It was made from ice. It was the most beautiful table, and this ice dragon came in, and he said, "Oh, well, I've just come in to introduce you to someone." And I looked to the left in my mind's eye, and there's this wizard sitting on the left-hand side, and this wizard's come to talk to the person that I'm channeling for and bringing through messages. So dragons can be gatekeepers as well. They are gatekeepers as well, and so they're allowing other beings to come in of higher frequencies as well. Often when I work with the dragons, I always feel them within the 9th dimension, so the 9th dimension and above. I haven't felt them in the 5th dimension or lower than the 9th dimension. And I guess, how do we, my husband, I have to tell the story. My husband, he's outside one day and he goes, come and look. I'm like, what happened now? Because it was such urgency that he calls me. He says, look up at the sky. And the whole sky was filled with dragon wings, clouds that were dragon wings. And it was just the most magical thing. And for my husband to say that, he's always had this association or really been really strongly associated with dragon energies and stuff. And he told me once that he had a dream that he was flying like a dragon, and he could feel the wind, on his wings, and it was just magical. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing that story. But I feel the dragons are around us. And so how have you seen the dragons connect in the physical, that we as humanity can understand that actually, that's dragon energy, or that is dragons that's trying to connect with us? For us, it was the clouds, and sometimes you can see them. You can see also birds in the clouds. So there's many different ways. But what have you experienced?
I got a funny little story with Leslie. I was doing one of these big sand mandalas beside Lion Rock out of Pihar, and we ended up doing this big kind of eye shape, which turned out to be this dragon mother's body, and then we put 9 circles around it, which were like egg sacs, and our whole intention was to call in the higher dimensional assistance of dragons to help us expand our consciousness and the work we were doing. And I got all very virile and drew all these sperms into all the egg sacs, of course, and then I was standing in the middle, and there was this joyful, playful energy of calling the baby dragons in, right? And I was dancing around a bit, and so anyway, I go home after this doing this on this day, and get to my computer, and there's one of these Facebook shares or something of this video taken in Tasmania, just directly across the water where the tide took our mother dragon from where we drew it. And it's this video of this thing they were calling this little sea dragon. It was like a sort of seahorse thing with all these rainbow colors, It was like, this is real stuff. There's one of my babies already made it across the Tasman. Yahoo!
Wow, amazing. You can't explain this stuff, and it is synchronicities, isn't it? It's like, and what happens is spirit confirms the work that you're doing through sending you these little signs, or, you look at a billboard or something on television or social media. And when you get those signs, it's confirmation that you know, this is real. The stuff that you're doing in the energetic world is real in terms of how it you know, moves and ripples into our reality as such. So yeah, don't take it for granted as such.
Yeah.
Anyone
and
else
the
want to
clouds
share?
very
Yeah.
much too, you know, the synchronicities in the clouds. When I've been working on the ley lines, I do sacred sites and things and do downloading of energies and you know, I just sometimes forget to look up and you know, and then everyone gasps as we look up, and there's just such dramatic dragon forms over us while we're calling in that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have
So
to agree. They have been, and I'm sitting here thinking of all the years that I've seen dragons in the clouds, and thinking of the movie. Oh gosh, what was the name of the movie with the big dragon, the big white dragon?
the luck dragon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, often seeing that in the sky, and I'm just sitting here going, oh my God, this has been going on for years and not making that connection in clouds. So yeah, that isn't that like just feeling that how close they are, how close they're making that space for us. And there's something else I just want to share is I think something to do with the eye that they're talking about. I've been talking about invisible shadows for quite a few weeks, and how the visibility of the shadow, because it's invisible shadow, how we're being able to see the invisible shadow. Like that's how different the manipulation is. And then what I'm getting is that the eye is giving us the capacity to be able to see that invisibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, see
absolutely.
through the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be able to see the manipulation that changes all the time, the visibility is becoming easier for us to see. So I feel like maybe the veil or the illusion that you know that there's been around for such a long time, that's what I'm hearing is their ability to be able to see is being transmuted to us to be able to see clearer.
Yeah,
see through
absolutely.
the veil.
Yeah. So we are accessing because we're accessing higher source frequencies, we're actually accessing the all-seeing eye, which is pretty much confirming being able to see through God's eyes, through source, you know, everything that is actually the truth and what is the untruth. And so this is very important for humanity to be able to discern what is true and what is not true. Yeah. Totally. Kimberley, do you want to add anything to that, my lovely? Oh, we've lost Kimberley again.
Slipping in and out of the dimension.
I know she is. So, yeah, I mean, whilst we were just talking about, oh, she's back. Sorry, you're back. What did you want to add?
Yeah, for me, it's like I sense the water dragons the most because I'm a water weaver and I work with the water a lot. For me, it's like the sensing when I'm kind of come near the water, it shows itself to me, and it just feels like it's so big, this water dragon. And so I don't really see them in the clouds or anything. For me, it's in the water. Like I feel the water dragons probably the most, and it just feels so expansive. There's this water dragon that's just like so expansive. Yeah, and that's kind of how that's probably the only way that I kind of see them, like in this kind of dimension as such.
Yeah. So whilst we were all talking just now, I was shown how they are in the plants, in the trees, and so in the plants, their faces and how they come out, but they're shapeshifters. Dragons are shapeshifters, so they can take on any shape, any form, and so they shape with the plants. And they're showing me literally how they are when we're walking through the forest, how they are in the plants and the leaves, you know, and they're playful and they want to connect with us. So do not be afraid of it. Like I said, always set the intention to connect with the highest frequency of divine love and light. And with that in your heart and the love and the wonder, you know, it is so important to start exploring these things in a way where it's for the highest, greatest good. If you want to benefit from these energies for your own self, remember that everything that we do here is for the highest, greatest good. When we're working and co-creating with these energies, it's always we're looking at the greater picture. How can these dragons help us and help the cosmos, help not just our earth, but everything that we are connected to, right? So when we're connecting with these beings, it's always the intention to do good, to co-create with them for the highest, greatest good. No matter where we go, if we're going to the void, if we are in the healing plasma, in the quantum healing plasma, wherever we go, right? Even just sitting in our kitchen, baking a cake, making a dragon cake for our children's birthday, okay? Setting the intention that it's always infused with love. I remember making this beautiful blue dragon cake for my 2-year-old son. He loved dragons when I was living in the UK. And I had so much fun creating this cake. And at the end, it gave me so much joy. So I feel that it doesn't just have to be woo-woo and feel like it's unobtainable. It can be applied in our daily lives where we're actually co-creating with the dragons and bringing it in, drawing, painting, baking a cake, dancing with the dragons, whatever it is, being able to really, like you say, bring them in as friends and experience their love for us as well, because they are very, very loving beings. They're fierce, believe you me, they can be very fierce, they can be very to the point. When they come into my energy, I have this really, really big dragon that comes right into my energy, and he'll put his face in front of my face like this, and he'll look at me just with these eyes, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, what would you like you to say to me?
Anything
and it's like,
you say.
I've got your attention now, so let's talk. So it's about not being afraid of all of these and these gifts and things that's coming online for people, right? You are going to experience things. The veil's thinning, truths and untruths are coming to light. You're going to start feeling your own gifts, your remembrance of your own soul gifts so much. So it's about going and saying, what is it that you want to tell me? How would you like me to co-create with you? And always knowing that, if it feels off, it most likely is off, the energy. Yeah. Always go with your intuition, your guidance. So my loves, we're almost at the end, and I just wanted to just put, one little thing out there. If maybe you want to share one little last thing about the dragons, maybe there's a message that's channeling through you that you want to share with the people that are listening right now.
Yeah, I'm getting be free to be yourself. That's just what the dragons want to say. That's all I can say is be free to be yourself. And that's what they're here to help us do, is to be our unique selves and to shine in our glory and our power.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kimberley. Thank you, dragons.
And on that same theme, I've got to an age where I don't have to give a stuff about what anyone thinks now. I'm not out to impress anymore. Having a massive team like that at my back, being myself's not an issue anymore. Like, no one's going to mess with my team. So it gives me the confidence to be anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When we realize who walk beside us, you would never be afraid again. Never, ever, ever, because we are so supported. We are so looked after. And it's certainly when we can tap into the magic of that, of our own creations and co-creating with those beings that actually want to work with us, then we can learn so much, and we can stop feeling separate from our world. We can begin to go, hang on a minute. How can I use this information to actually enhance my life and move out of that space of struggle, move out of that space of fear? Donna-Lee, anything they want to share with you?
Dare to explore and play.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of these beautiful messages. Sorry, I've got work starting in my garden, so that's my cue to finish the talk today, but thank you. If you have any questions about the Dragon's Beautiful Souls and you have any questions for these amazing speakers that was on my panel today, I'll pop their website links under the talk and also on the podcast, and you can connect with us anytime. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening.
Thank
Mwah.
you.
From my heart to yours.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.